Alright, so the dirty hoe. Let's see, what do we got here? 20 millimeter round eye shank, some 50-pound Power Pro, and a bead or cone of your choice. I'm running a tungsten plummeting bead on this one. Loop your Power Pro, put it through the top of the shank. Kind of figure out your length here. Double it back over. Slide the bead over the Power Pro. Now over the shank. Try to keep your top and bottom oriented here. And put her on now for length. This is going to be really at, your discretion how big you want to make these. You can make them freaking huge. I'm usually in like the 2.5 inch range. That's kind of where I like to be with most of my 2.5 to 3 inch range. Seems to be what I like to tie. So at any rate, I'll probably go a little shorter. You can just pull the bottom, make it shorter here. So if we're looking, what I'm gauging here is our tail, which is going to be out to about here, and then thinking about how big my loop and ostrich is going to be, and that's probably about right there. So this will end up being about a 2.5 inch fly. Bring your Power Pro forward. I'm using 140 denier. Tie in your thread. Tie in your top loop, and then just do one more length check. And then bottom Power Pro. Scissor test. And then tie everything back, and now we've got a loop that will break before it pulls out, which is what we want. First order business is to get a rabbit strip. I use these micros. We get these custom cut in a bunch of different color patterns too. And the reason I like the micro is that it seats on the hook better than the fat, like wide strips. It seems to just seat on the hook a lot better. I'm going to just tie a strip longer than my loop. The loop, if you have a little bit longer, it makes it a lot easier to put the hook on later. And tie that in. Make sure we're lined up with the top of our hook. With these shanks, you can kind of get it off to the side pretty easily if you're not careful. Like, I think I'm a little bit off here. Tie that in and make sure that the loop and the rabbit are exactly tied on the same. And the easiest way to do that is just to make a couple wraps together in the back like that. Okay? So rabbit strip's done. Now for our kind of rear accent flash, you can do a bunch of different things. You can I'm going to use UV Polar Chenille. Polar Reflector Flash works. Then you can also make your own, you know, if you want to blend colors and stuff, you can take angel hair or Polar Flash or any of that kind of stuff and just make your own, like, first little part here. But I'm going to use Polar Chenille, and I'm going to take like 4 or 5 wraps. Alright, 4 wraps. Yeah, looks pretty good there. So we'll do that. And then just kind of pick out anything that got wedged. This stuff's so curly. So curly it can kind of like bind up over itself, so that's good there. So I'm going to take some water and just get everything back out of my way. See how that works now? So everything's just kind of back out of my way. This stuff can get a little unruly because it just goes kind of haywire on you. Next step is ostrich hurl. Take 6. So right now, while these are all going the same direction, I'm going to put water on them. That'll make it a lot easier to tie in. And then I usually match the loop. We got it all mixed up here. So I typically match the length of the loop with my ostrich hurl. Alright, 6 more, all go in the same direction here. So I'm just going to kind of keep it that way. Add water right now. And that makes them a lot easier to handle. Cool. I'm going to add some jumbo cock. This is optional, but I really like the effect of it, so I'm going to use it. You can use the Aqua stuff, the Unreal, or you can use the Pro HD. Both of them work pretty good. If you're going to use the real stuff, don't strip it. Keep this fluff on there, and that will orient so the feather won't roll on you. Alright, that's all tied down, so we're good here with our first little section. And then if you notice, I don't have a lot of room here, which is on purpose. The longer you make this, the more loop you're going to have to make, and it just becomes way overcrowded really fast. We're not going to use like a huge composite loop in these. If you get it too big, the reverse effect happens to where you end up with too much turbulence, and the rabbit will kind of work its way back this way as the water comes around and wants to suck in the back. So there's kind of a good balance between enough of a shoulder to keep it prominent and you know, you want to have some substance there, but if you have too much, everything will start curling back and coming back around the fly, so you got to be a little bit careful of that. because it sucks. You can fix it if you see that happening. Just put your flies in the water in front of you, and if it's curling back, you can cut some material out or comb it with one of these EP brushes like really hard, and then it'll kind of break it up and get some material out of it so it's usable. But it is nice just to kind of have it fishing good out of the gate. So for our first composite loop, I'm going to use some black ice dub. I'm going to just take some time and try to get it kind of all collected here. Okay, I'm going to break it in half, and I've got enough there. Alright, next I'm going to throw in some Predator wrap, which I think we'll just do some freckled silver. This is kind of like some of the original Predator wrap, which I still really like. Okay, let's get a length here. So remember, it's going to be, if we're going to lay it down 60-40, which is standard, kind of look at what you got here, pinch it about 40%, you know, pinch it at a 60-40, and then just check your length. That's going to be good there. I'm going to spread it out in my fingers. Lay it down. My forward station. I'm going to take just a clump of angel hair. Same deal, spread it out. Lay that down. And now just a little bit of like an EP brush here. I think this is a chromatic. Is this a chromatic? Yeah, that's a chromatic. Cut that up. Throw that down. Bring your loop up. Give it a smash. Take some water here. Bring this all back. Create a dubbing loop. Okay. Grab our composite loop. Throw it in the dubbing loop. Match the lines up. And this is actually spread out really good. I'm just going to spin her just like that. All spun up, give her a comb. good looking loop if I don't say so myself. I'm going to give her a split here. Kind of get to where we have a part. I'm going to use water to get everything the direction I want it. Now I'm going to wrap it tight, one right next to the other. Alright, tie off. You can see we only got like 2.5, 3 turns out of that, which, you know, you can make them bigger, obviously. Comb that out. Put some water on it just to get it all out of my way. Alright, so that one's done. Now we just got to do the collar. For the collar I'm going to keep with the, you can use, you know, red would look pretty good in here. I'm going to stick with the black ice dub just because I want to kind of darken this fly up a little bit. We have a big red tail and I just kind of like the contrast of light to dark a ton. That's what gives me faith in flies, is high contrast. Big fan of high contrast. Actually, I think that's why a fly like the greenbutt skunk works so well, is dark body and bright wing. Alright, forward hackle. So now we're going to be working down on this area. This is going to be folded over. I'm going to take some of this barred ostrich red and black. Grab a chunk. Get our length. So we got quite a bit to cut out here. You know, it's only going to be about that long. I'm going to cut out a bunch. It might be a little too long yet, so that's going to be good there. So it's the easiest thing to do here is make your ostrich too long. So it tends to be a little shorter than you would think. So when in doubt, just always hold it up to the fly and give it a measure and make sure it's what you want to do. I'm going to spread it out. So this camera's kind of in the way here, so I'm going to do my best. It's a weird angle for me. Flip this over the top. One more dubbing loop. A little bit of wax. Grab our loop. Pop it in. Now we can spread this out. To make sure we get all the ostrich herl pinned in that loop. Alright, give her a spin. Little time picking. You can go light with this, with the ostrich roll. And now we're going to find a center point here where everything kind of wants to go the same direction. Grab your water. Force it to go that direction if need be. Wrap right up to the bead. Bring it back. Cut our thread. Gosh, I hate this whip finisher. I gotta find a new whip finisher. There we go. There's a new one. I think I bent that one somehow and it just doesn't quite work right. Alright, now pick it all out. Brush it back. You can see what you created. Awesome flies, tons of depth. And now I'll show you how to mount the hook. Usually, while it's on the vise, I'm going to bring everything forward. Grab a hook, if I can find one, that'd be cool. There we go. So this is a Talon hook number 2. I'm going to flip the flight upside down. Rabbit strips on the bottom now. Run it through the hook, just like a normal, just like we're looping on anything. Get that hook right next to the shank. Open it up. Go down. Twist away from you. Come up. Twist towards you. Down. Hold it with your top finger there. Try to keep that loop open. Put your rabbit strip through the loop. And while your finger's on top, pull the hook. Make sure the hide is on the hook itself. Match up lengths. At this point you can set it back. Okay, hide's on the hook. I'm going to take a needle and just get rid of the, or not get rid of, but take care of that hair, that rabbit hair that's trapped in there. You can see we can just open it up this point I'm just going to pull the hook back and just see where we're at. So we're seated, pull the hook. What I'd like to do also is I'll put the hook in the vise and just pull everything nice and tight. Right here, see how this is sticking? So this can foul, so if we trim it back here, it can easily foul. So I'm just going to clip the hide right in front of the hook. That way this hide cannot interfere with the hook point. And there we have it. Finished. Dirty hoe.